The man happily returned home with his ex-wife, yet he discovered that in the empty house there was no sign of his wife. When he came to his wife's room, he was shocked to find that there were no traces of her having ever lived there. Then the man went to the living room. When he saw that the only family photo of the three of them had also vanished, the man then realized that his wife had completely left this home. He thought back to when their son was just born. His ex-wife had left them and gone to the United States. It was the woman who had come to his side selflessly, without complaint or regret. She had taken care of him and his son with meticulous attention, and so they spent several years living a happy life. One day the ex-wife suddenly returned. The man denied any relationship between him and the woman. He stated that the woman was merely the housekeeper in this home. The son even said that the woman was always an outsider. He said that after her death, she shouldn't even think of being interred in their family's ancestral tomb. To test the woman's loyalty to him, the man deliberately threw a lighter into the swimming pool, ordered the woman to dive in and retrieve it. Without hesitation, the woman plunged into the icy water. Trembling, she picked up the lighter. Everyone present mocked her as foolish. The woman's selfless devotion to the man and his child was not because the woman was deeply in love with the man, but rather to fulfill the promise she had made to a divine doctor. 6 years earlier, the woman's husband had been on the verge of death. It was the divine doctor who saved her husband's life. To repay the divine doctor's kindness, the woman came to the man and his child's side, promising the divine doctor to care for them for 6 years. Now that the agreed upon time was about to arrive, the ex-wife whom the man had thought of day and night had also returned. Seeing their deep affection displayed in front of her, the woman was not angry. She even went to the kitchen and cooked a meal for them. But the ex-wife had no intention of letting the woman off. She went into the kitchen and threw the prepared soup onto the woman. The man rushed over at the sound. The ex-wife falsely accused the woman of being jealous of her and of losing her temper with her. The man scolded the woman, saying she had no right to lose her temper with his ex-wife, because he and his son had never acknowledged the woman as a mistress of the house. The son also said that they had taken her in earlier, only so that the woman would take care of their daily needs. Now that his mother had returned, he no longer needed the woman as a stepmother. The woman looked at the boy she had raised with great sadness in her heart. Thankfully, only 4 days remained before she could leave this family. The next day, the woman brought cake to the boy. The boy mockingly told her that she relied on his father for everything, and that she didn't even dare to voice a single complaint. Saying this, the boy picked up the cake and threw it at the woman, demanding that she feed him the cake. But then he said he didn't want to eat cake today, and he told the woman to get out quickly. The woman did not want to argue with a child. After all, in 2 days they would part ways. Finally, the day of her departure arrived. The woman received a message from the man. He asked her to go to the hotel to pick him up and bring him home. The woman knew the family would surely find ways to torment her. In order to ensure she could leave smoothly, the woman dialed the divine doctor's phone number. She told him that she would complete the promised condition by midnight tonight, and if she failed to return home on time, she hoped the divine doctor would send someone to pick her up on the 5th floor of the hotel. Sure enough, when the woman arrived at the hotel, the ex-wife said that the woman and her pet dog shared the same birthday. She demanded that the woman toast and celebrate with the dog. The woman explained that she was allergic to grape juice and could not drink it. As a result, she was framed by the ex-wife. The ex-wife deliberately fell to the ground, and when the man walked over, she immediately accused the woman of pushing her. The man believed the ex-wife's lie and began to reprimand the woman. Suddenly, the ex-wife saw the pet dog fell asleep after drinking grape juice. Seizing the opportunity, she blamed the woman of putting sleeping pills in the grape juice. The woman explained that she had not done it, but the man would not believe her. The man raised a whip, ready to beat his wife. Unbeknownst to him, his wife was being framed by his ex-wife. Just when the woman was most helpless, a subordinate sent by the divine doctor arrived in time. After the woman was helped to her feet, she said one sentence: "The 6-year agreement is finally over." This sentence left the man puzzled about its meaning. In fact, the woman had cared for the man and his son for 6 years, solely to fulfill her agreement with the divine doctor. Years ago, the divine doctor had saved the woman's husband, on the condition that the woman would care for the man and his son for 6 years. Now that the 6-year term had ended, the woman publicly announced that she and the man were no longer bound in any relationship. But the man insisted that the woman was his wife. He absolutely refused to allow his wife to be taken away. At this point, the divine doctor's subordinate said they had never obtained a marriage certificate and were not legally married. Therefore, the man had no right to prevent them from taking the woman. The man flew into a rage upon hearing this, warning the woman that if she left, she should never think of returning to his home. The woman ignored him and walked straight to the luxury car waiting at the hotel entrance. She asked the divine doctor to retrieve the video of the man's ex-wife framing her, as a farewell gift to the man. Meanwhile, the man planned to go home to punish the woman further. However, when he returned home, he found the house empty. He rushed into the bedroom to search, but only found a video file left behind by the woman. The ex-wife, knowing the video content would incriminate her, deliberately cut the power and claimed there was a blackout, to prevent the man from seeing the evidence of her framing the woman. At that moment, the man noticed the family portrait had also disappeared, and he felt a sudden pang of emptiness in his heart. Little did he know that he was about to lose the woman he loved most forever. Upon gaining her freedom, the woman immediately went to the hospital to visit the CEO. The CEO, as the woman's childhood sweetheart, had always hoped to marry her. and his nephew also wanted the woman to become his mother. Now seeing the woman return, the CEO decided to take her to attend the company banquet 3 days later, and planned to have her play a piano piece at the event. Meanwhile, the man learned that the Jiang Corporation CEO had recovered, and that the CEO's beloved would also appear in person. Since the man's company had a partnership with the CEO's, he instructed his assistant to purchase an expensive gift. Then he attended the banquet with his ex-wife and son. After the banquet began, the woman, dressed in white, took the stage first to play a piano piece for the guests. The guests praised her beauty, saying she looked like a goddess. Although they couldn't clearly see her face, the man felt a sense of familiarity. Even his son thought the woman looked like his stepmother. Although the woman had been the prodigious champion of the Chopin International Competition for 10 years, she had not touched a piano in 6 years. She made a mistake in her performance and was ridiculed by the onlookers. But soon the CEO encouraged her from the side, and she improvised to save the day playing a beautiful melody. Then the CEO appeared with his nephew to give a speech, publicly announcing that the woman was his childhood sweetheart, and that her efforts were the reason for his recovery. The guests in the audience clamored to see the woman's face. When the CEO lifted her veil, the ex-wife immediately shouted out the woman's name. Seeing the woman turn around, the man realized it truly was his wife. But in that moment, the woman seemed somewhat unfamiliar. He had never expected the woman he despised to be able to play the piano. Hearing the guests' continuous praise, the man's son asked the woman to be his mother. The ex-wife instantly flew into a rage, guessing that the reason the woman had disappeared without notice might be because she had long been involved with the CEO. Upon hearing this, the man immediately rushed forward to demand an explanation, only to find the woman holding the CEO's hand, ready to leave. The man hurried to block them, claiming that the woman had played his favorite piece, solely to win him back and persuade her to return to his side. The woman explained that he had misunderstood, and that she simply enjoyed playing the piece, so she doesn't want to explain anymore. At that moment, the son ran over, again asking the woman to be his mother. But the woman no longer wished to have any relationship with them. Saying that, she left with the CEO. Seeing everyone flocking around the woman, the ex-wife was instantly consumed by fury, vowing in her heart that she would never let the woman have peace. In order to win back the woman who once belonged to him, the man chased after them and punched the CEO.